previous occasion, this is your penultimate contest of the evening, brought to us by VIP Promotions, VIPBoxing.tv, and Only Full Fights via Facebook, and the Solon Brothers are welcoming you also from Germany. This contest is for 3-minute rounds of boxing in the light heavyweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black coloured shorts, at the weight he scale 12 stone, 3 pounds 4 ounces. Tonight is his 19th professional appearance. He hails from Balciauskas, Lithuania, presenting Vaidas Balciauskas. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the blue colour shorts, trimmed with the spangled gold and white. At the weight he scaled 12 stone exactly. From one contest he has one win, presenting from Stratford, Burnley, Ray. Time crew the bell is Gary Grennan, referee Andy Brewer from Leeds, 4 3-minute rounds.
So as this one gets underway, I just spotted a ringside photographer getting another ringside photographer to take a photograph of him at ringside on a mobile phone. It was like some kind of optical illusion there.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah, like the Matrix, or the cover of Gummer, the classic Pink Floyd album. I'll have to get a photograph of myself at ringside writing a report at some point, I think.
There we go then, a big night this for Bradley Wright.
Yeah, and as you say, the biggest support we've seen of the night so far as well, so he clearly shifted quite a few tickets and will continue to do so as long as he continues winning and putting on performances that his fans enjoy.
Lovely right hand over the top from Ray, straight away. And you can tell his opponent hurt that, and Ray's really going for it early on.
Yeah, as you say, he saw his opponent then jumped on him. It could be an early night this one if that's the way things are going to pan out.
Really good that from Ray, just to settle down as well. He didn't punch himself out like you see some fighters do.
No, he had a look, didn't he, and picked his shots well. Vaidas actually won his first 3 fights against their nondescript opponents. His second fight was in the nightclub Oasi in Lithuania. We always see fights in nightclubs. Then a place called the Cafe Luna where he had his 3rd win, and after that he just started to lose fights. But he's generally quite durable, so it'll be interesting to see if he can be taken out of there tonight.
I tell you what, Ray started really sharply in there so far. A lovely left hook to the body and then a right hand to follow it.
And in his last 9 fights, he's only been taken out by Jimmy Kelly, so that was a TKO for 5 rounds, so it'll be interesting to see if Stingray can do that tonight.
Yeah, and already the referee's having a little bit of a look at this. He's been relentless so far from Ray, and he's picking those body shots so nicely as well.
And while we're here as well, we'll give a big shout out to anyone who's out there in Germany watching through Sauerland Promotions website. Sprechen Sie Deutsch, the universal language of boxing. I'm sure you're having an absolutely awesome time and looking forward to the main event.
Tell you what, those shots to the body are just landing at will now for Ray.
Yeah, and his opponent's cowering a little bit under the force of those shots. As you say, the referee's having a good look. A couple of sustained attacks, and we could see the referee jump in and stop this one.
Yeah, and he's really struggling there. Vaidas, you can see it, and Ray's really unloading here, and the referee's having a look at this.
Yeah, you can see it in Vaidas' eyes. He's just shipping punishment as well. Not all of the shots are clean, but the referee's looking and he's seeing one guy being pummeled on the ropes and not actually throwing anything back.
Yeah, and Ray told me before this one he wanted to make a statement and get a stoppage, and he's certainly on his way to that if he continues this way. 40 seconds left of the opening round, and utterly dominant performance so far. He's not getting carried away behind his work either. He's picking his shots nicely.
Yeah, as you say, it's kind of boom and bust. He'll fire a few shots, have a look at what's developing, and if nothing's developing, it's not going to waste any punches needlessly.
Yeah, and this has been dominant first round. I don't think Ray's took a shot yet. He's landing with everything that he's throwing as well. Looks sharp defensively.
Yeah, and Stingray's got CBD sponsoring him on his shots. His opponent might need some of that at the end of the night if it carries on like this for the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Luke Evans described his performance on his debut as punch perfect, and I think you go as far to say as that opening round was.
Yeah, like you said, he hurt his opponent. He wasn't wasteful with his shots. Gave the crowd plenty to get excited about. Gave the people watching at home plenty to get excited about as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he approaches the next round after such a dominant and successful first round.
Yeah, and he looks so good when he's just calm, relaxed, throwing his shots, picking his shots nicely, and that's where he had his success then. When he loaded up, he kind of gave Vaidas a bit too much of an indication of what was coming, but when he took his time and just placed his shots, that's when he had his success.
Yeah, when you load up you can be a bit too easy to read, so like you say, when he was more relaxed, placed his shots, he had a lot more success, and hopefully he'll come and do that out again in this next round.
10 seconds, corners.
And while we're talking, the referee's looking intently in the opposing corner as well for signs of distress maybe.
Yeah, and he did exactly the same thing before he stopped Chris Hadaway against Kane Gardner. He had a really long look at that one, and he has done there, because Brad was dominant in that first round. He'll be looking for more of the same here.
And he's so young as well, only 20 years of age. He's got so much to learn and so much talent that he can develop as well in the gym.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to stay as an amateur and try and chase, major titles, but he felt like it was his time to turn professional, and he's certainly been justified in that so far. Lovely work again from Brad.
Yeah, Vaidas tried throwing a few shots, but he's just getting countered whenever he tries to flow. It's a losing game for him, this one.
Yeah, Brad just turned in southpaw a moment ago and landed that right up to the body. Lovely work again, and these body shots are certainly going to have an effect at some point. Really crunching them in with both hands. And you can see Vaidas is already breathing heavily.
Yeah, like you say, he's looking distressed as well. When he gets under pressure, he's really feeling it. You can take one look into his eyes and you can see that he's taken some serious shots in that first round and continues to take them in the second round. And at some point the referee has to ask himself, is there any point of it continuing? Sometimes the crowd want a definitive conclusion, but if someone's just being continuously beaten up, the ref might just step in at a point that looks strange to the observer, but the referee's got a justification for making that call.
Yeah, and it's always better to see a stoppage too early than too late, isn't it? We say that many times.
Yeah, and sometimes you can see them coming. I know a lot of people dispute the stoppage of Kyle Thotch over George Groves in that first fight, but you could see George Groves was starting to unravel. Thotch may have finished it definitively if the stoppage hadn't come, but the stoppage itself created the narrative of a rematch, so sometimes the stoppage can prove beneficial to the fighter at certain levels.
A lovely left hook to the body from Brad again. Coming towards the end of the second round. Been a better round this for Vaidas. He's not been under as much pressure as he was in the first, but there's no doubt about who's won it.
Yeah, he's not at those moments where you kind of the crowd are off the feet thinking that he's going to be stopped. It's been more of a steady performance by Ray in this round.
Really good round again from Ray. Certainly two in the bank. He's been dominant throughout.
And Vaidas is 31 now, which is young it's certainly younger than me, but in boxing terms, having some of the fights he's had, it's an aging sport at the best of times, especially when you're an opponent and you're being punished pretty much week in and week out.
Just want to start picking his shots again, Brad, doesn't he, like he did in the opener?
Yeah, like you say, when he picked his shots, he landed much more cleanly and effectively, so hopefully when he goes back to the corner, they'll tell him to do more of the same that he did in the first round to get back on that trail.
Nice left hook to the head.
Yeah, you could feel the impact of that shot. You could hear it at ringside as well.
Hey, he's looked really heavy-handed so far, Ray, as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Like I say, you can actually hear the impact of the punches. You can hear them thudding home as well, so the second round wasn't as impressive as his first round, but he's still got a lot to build on and a lot that he can do in the third and fourth round as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't as good as the first round, but Vaidas is certainly struggling. The referees come over to the corner and just told him he's got to throw more shots.
Yeah, and that's fair enough for him to tell him he can't just carry on being picked off the way he has done in the first and second round. Ultimately, you have to ask what benefit it has for him. He's not going to win the fight, so if he's being picked off, then it's not really good for him. It's not good for the audience as well. So the referee might look at jumping in this round if he's in trouble at any point.
Yeah, and the referee just having that customary look at the blue corner like he has so many times tonight.
Round 3.
Brad just giving a little smile and raising his eyebrows at us. At the start of that round, he's comfortable in there, you can see that.
Yeah, he looks happy with what he's done so far. The brightest thing about his opponent so far has been his socks, which are fluorescent green of some variety. So, but like you say, Vaidas needs to actually do something this round, not just tuck up and hope for the best and hope to see it through.
And it might play into Brad's hands as well. If Vaidas starts throwing, there'll be more openings for him to capitalise on.
Yeah, Brad can start picking his shots if that's the case, and throwing them with more purpose and more intent.
A lovely hook to the body again from Brad.
And again, right up to the body as well along the ropes. He's just beating his man up now.
Yeah, Ryan Oliver just texted me during the break of that last round. He said Brad's got to stay on his chest, and that's where he's had his success, isn't it? When he closes the distance, lands to the body, just like he is now.
Yeah, he knows he's got this one in the bag, so it's a case where he can actually close it out with a stoppage. The ingredients are there for the stoppage. He just needs to pull everything together and get it done. And it'll be nice for his fans as well, because you may hear people watching at home may hear the roars of the crowd every time he lands a good punch and a good combination. It shows that he's well supported. And a stoppage, I reckon, would raise the roof if he gets it.
A lovely right hand to the body landed as you were talking then, and you can see Vaidas is reddened up so much around the body already. But Brad's just pounding that body in there so far.
And Vaidas tried throwing his own left hook there as well and got countered, so the more he tries to open up, the more, as you say, he's going to be countered and maybe taken out.
And Ray's certainly got a sting about him tonight.
Slight dip in this second minute of the round, but maybe Ray's just thinking about the last minute of the round and pumping everything into that one. Bit of a low blow, Vaidas complains, but the referee has told him to just carry on. And in the midst of all that, Ray landed a little bit of a left uppercut to the belly, which is a rare punch for the fighter to pull off, and quite a damaging punch if you know how to do it.
Yeah, and you can see Blaine Ewis and Mike Jackson in Brad's corner calling him forward. They want him to throw more of those body shots that he's landed with.
Blood from the nose of Vaidas as well. Vaidas has landed a couple of shots this round, but it's just in many ways made Ray have a more dominant round than we've seen in the previous two, because he can counter those shots and this opening that's there for him to build on.
Yeah, and we mentioned that it might actually create some more success for Ray if Vaidas does open up, and it certainly has been towards the end of this third round. A lovely right hand over the top. The referee's having a look at this again.
Yeah, Vaidas is looking very tired, very faded. Ray is turning southpaw there to try a few more openings. But that's probably his best round of the fight. Even though he took a couple of shots, he took the shots in order to land his own and was taking a few more risks there, and it paid off in terms of the dominance of the round.
Yeah, and in that corner, Vaidas looks so demoralised. I think he's run out of ideas already, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's, like you say, he's demoralised, he's taking a pounding, and he probably just wants to try and see the fourth round through. If he gets stopped in the fourth round, it'll be a miserable night for him.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be on full-on survival mode in this last session. And Brad's just got to keep picking his punches.
The referee telling him to touch gloves, so I think the referee was happy with what he saw from Vaidas in that last round. He took a beating, but he tried to throw a couple of shots himself.
10 seconds, corners.
Photographers once again taking photos of each other at ringside. It's all getting very meta.
Seconds out for the fourth and final round.
Oh, you can see Vaidas is struggling there, isn't he?
Yeah, if someone's struggling to get off the stool, you know it's not. The only time you want someone to struggle to get off the stool is at the end of the night of drinking at the bar, really. You don't want it to be in a professional boxing ring. So it's going to be a big 3 minutes this for both fighters. Vaidas is just going to want to see it through, and Ray is going to want to really try and underline his dominance with a stoppage that he should, by all rights, be able to take.
A lovely right hand straight down the middle from Ray. You know, a lot of people talk about him as being a really top prospect for the future and one that's going to go far in the game, and he's certainly showing tonight why.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tools at his disposal. We've seen him switch southpaw a couple of times as well, with mixed success, which is another thing that he can use in the big fights where he's really going into rounds 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 and you're running out of ideas and need to freshen things up a little bit. Again, Vaidas is throwing a few more shots this round, but then he's just being countered at will when the shots don't land.
Yeah, he's looked quite sharp defensively as well in there, Ray. He's not got carried away with the early success that he had.
No, he's remained calm and focused. Sometimes if a fighter has early success, like you say, they can go absolutely gung-go and punch themselves out a little bit. They throw everything but the kitchen sink at the situation, whereas Ray has just kind of systematically broken his man down.
Yeah, a minute and a half left of this round. A lovely left hook landed from Ray again.
And as we say, plenty of time for him to pull the trigger on a few more of those right hands as well. But Vaidas will be, he's got about 80 seconds left to see through this fight. He's had a torrid night in there, and he'll be glad to wear that final bell if he makes it that far. And at this point I think it's looking like he might do, because Ray was, he's still landing hurtful shots, but he's slowed the pace down, although I'll say that he's starting to raise it up a little bit again and get the crowd excited.
Yeah, Vaidas, it hurt a little bit there. You know, the referee was having a look at that, and you could tell Ray certainly sensed something. He stepped up the levels then. You know, 50 seconds with this one left to go.
And to be fair to Vaidas, he's biting down and firing back. He's got some guts.
Yeah, he's trying to fight fire with fire in the last few seconds of the final round. And, you know, after the first minute of the first round, we didn't think we'd see this much of the fight. But credit to Vaidas, Brad's done very little wrong in there.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for both fighters. For the opponent, it's been a bit of a moral victory just to get through it, and for Ray, it's a good chance for him to get another win, get his second win in terms of his pro career, and he's been dominant in terms of the performance.
Yeah, and without doubt, this has been the performance of the night for me.
Yeah, like his namesake, Chris Ray, he's put his opponent on the road to well. Landed some really decent shots and is continuing to throw the right hand as we tick into the final seconds of the fight.
And if we had a couple more rounds tonight, there's no doubt Brad would have got the stoppage. What a performance that is from Bradley Ray, just showing why he's being talked about as one of the hot prospects around middleweight, super middleweight and light heavyweight. And there's a picture of him next to Alexander Usyk, and he's taller than him, so there's potential for Brad to move up the weights. And what a performance that was from the Stingray.
Yeah, he'll be satisfied with that, I think, when he looks back on it. He might not be happy with the fact he didn't get the stoppage, but he landed some really telling blows, and I think if a stoppage was going to come, it would have come in that particular fight. But his opponent, to be fair to him, bit down and just dug in and managed to see it through.
And like Luke Evans would say, a punch perfect performance from Brad. And he'll be very happy with that in the corner. Blaine Eunice and Mike Jackson happy in the corner, and they've got every reason to be. What a performance that was.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of light heavyweight action, referee star referee Phil Edwards scoring for Andy Brook has adjudged this particular contest 40 points to 36 points for your winner, now undefeated in 2 professional contests from Stratford, Bradley Ray. And your appreciation, please, for our continental visitor, Vaidas Balciauskas.
So, as expected, another shutout win. Vaidas takes a bit of applause from the crowd, who, even though they were there to support their man, they recognise that he took some really tough shots in the first round and did well to see the fight through.
Yeah, and credit to him, because I didn't think he'd see the end at certain points of that bout.